Okay, we are joined after the Siren here. 100 games for Clarky and obviously Coxie. Very disappointing loss. I know you guys are hurting right now. Obviously, talk us through the game.
Yeah, obviously, a very high-pressured sort of game, and we're pretty slow to start with, and just goes to show if you give up 4 goals, it can bite you in the bum pretty quick. So, obviously, pretty disappointing result, but I thought there was some good stuff out there tonight, the Savo, and it's obviously dented where we want to go in the future, but I think it'll hold us in very good stead as well. Some key learnings over the last couple of weeks.
As you mentioned, 100 game for you, Clarky. Congratulations, mate. Coxie, what does it mean, obviously, to have another one of your brothers there reach the 100 club? How much do you value Clarky and what he does down there for the boys?
Yeah, value him heaps. Just his desperation and competitiveness, and his run off half back and his way to defend is really, really good. And he's a crucial part of our back seven. And when he's at his best, he's pretty much unstoppable, and players will have to tag him. So yeah, he's one of our better players.
Guys, look, the intent, the endeavour, the effort was there all game, and you could tell by diving on the line, you could tell by chase down tackles, like putting the body in the line, it was all there. And as you mentioned before, it was a real arm wrestle. But it just looked like when it counted the most, particularly in that fourth, when Geelong started taking control a little bit and then taking advantage and actually putting the ball through the big sticks. That was the difference, because especially in that third, when we got on top, I thought, that's it, here we go, we're ready to roll. If you could just talk us through from a player's mindset in that fourth quarter when that momentum run on is happening, what's going through the minds, because obviously you guys are trying to defend and rebound and all that sort of stuff. Yeah,
obviously it starts before that, and you're right, the third quarter we're on top, and I think we had a plus 11 inside 50s and weren't able to make that impact on the scoreboard, and we probably needed to be a bit further in front than we were, obviously. And going into the fourth, I felt like we just lost some critical contests, probably all over the ground. And then our execution, with ball in hand, probably under pressure, wasn't up to scratch. So, it was a clear standout. They were able to execute when it counted, and I think it's as simple as that. They took their chances.
Yep. I thought also some big structural changes too, which is pretty hard, I guess, for the team to a very short notice to adapt to. And I thought you guys did it as best as you could, particularly with the big fella, Big Onions, going out pre-game. So you've got Tabs coming in, and then obviously JT's out, so Big Dick Cyclone's not there either. So big adjustments and kick down the line. Obviously, it made it pretty tough too, and allowing that buffer to happen. In terms of that structural change, how does that affect you guys, like last minute changes and all that sort of stuff? How does it affect that game plan? How does it affect the way in which we move the ball?
Doesn't really change too much. We have that next man in mentality. Although you find out late, it doesn't really rattle you too much, especially with us backs. It was more at the other end. But yeah, Vossi come in and played his role really well and had the second ruck. But all our structure and stuff, our game plan and everything like that stayed the same. I thought we handled that really well.
Yeah, on a positive note, Clarky obviously had a strong game, mate. Everyone will be probably talking about a celebration from now. I assume it's from the Olympics. Is that where you took inspiration for that one?
Yeah, I actually had a message before the game and said you should do this if you kick a goal, and I thought, I'll do it, because I was getting nowhere near it, and actually ended up kick a goal in the first quarter, so I ripped it out.
Had a couple of good celebrations. The other one against, was it in Alice this year as well? Was another good one?
Yeah, no, I'll just, a few people flick me a message and say, how about you do this? And I think, you know what? We're in the business of entertaining, so when a back kicks a goal, I think, it's worth about 10, so
absolutely.
You're allowed to celebrate.
Worth 20.
Well, I know you guys are pretty flat, but just to round out, solid game, 28 disposals, 552 metres gained, 13 marks. A solid way to raise the bat, mate. I know in the run into this, when the real pod is on, when you're talking to Driscoll and whatnot, and going through, how many games you played and so forth, I think, even though we've lost this game, it's a very solid game by yourself, mate. I thought you played very well. And Coxie yourself, 16 disposals, 10 marks. Again, that key intercept mark. Coming back now, you feel more comfortable off that injury. You feel like you're flying again. All these sorts of things heading potentially into the back end of the season, boding well.
I wouldn't say flying. The legs were hanging on for dear life in the end. But I'm starting to get more and more confident in my game and getting up to speed with reactions and trusting myself with the ball as well. So, each game I play, I just get a little bit more confidence, and hopefully can take that into the end of the season and beyond.
And where to, obviously, guys, where to from here? As a fan, we talk. We're allowed to talk about finals, top 4, all that sort of stuff. And you guys know what's on the line, and you would have been talking about that in your meetings and all that sort of stuff. But how does the group galvanise now? Because the future's still in our hands.
Yeah.
We can. It's not. I understand that we're up against it, but it's not all doom and gloom. We can still control this. So what's that message? How do we get the boys up and about for next week?
Yeah, I don't think we'll need to get the boys up and about for next week. I think that'll naturally happen. And this is sport. You win and lose. You can't win every game, and you always find yourselves in these positions, and you'd rather be in this position than not even competing for a spot in the top 8. So we've still got a bloody exciting opportunity in front of us, and it's all about exactly right, coming together over this next little short period. The next couple of days will be really important to go hang out together, do reflect how you reflect, but you win and lose together in sport, and it's all doom and gloom, but at the end of the day, more often than not, there's a winner and there's a loser. So we're just on the other side of that ledger today.
I'll jump in there as well. Same thing we talk often, even last week, about not being too high, not being too low, not riding the roller coaster too much. We obviously had a couple of losses in a row, but the group doesn't need to go and change anything, because we know that our best is well and truly good enough to be able to stand up against everyone. So let's get back to our best. Yeah,
I think that's really important you say that, because we've already talked about this, but their patches there were, we're putting good footy together and we look like we're the better team. And I think at half time we're up on clearances, we're up on metres gained, we're up on we're up in a whole bunch of key areas, and I guess it's that final finish and just that composure in the end. But there's a lot of positives to take out of it, so it's not as if it's all lost, but it's certainly, going into next week, it really, I think if you've got that positive mindset, you go in next week, you're thinking, we're going to take GWS, anything's possible. We see them go up to Brisbane and beat Brisbane, so anywhere, anytime is that mantra. I'm sure you guys think that it's possible, you can do it, and hopefully that's the general vibe amongst the boys. It's like, we can do this next week. We can take it to them. We can take this game, and then everything's in our hands.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the last 2 games we were right in it until the end, and happened to fall on the other side. But as Clarky touched on, we'll take some good, really good lessons, some really good positives out of this game as we did last game, and hopefully we can fix up a few things, and we're right in the hunt. So pretty much final starts now for us, which is exciting. Yeah,
good. I'd like to hear from you as well, mate. Obviously outside in, but you're part of the club as well, and you see the boys, and they hurt, but also they celebrate together as well. When you're wanting to be part of that, how does that make you feel, like watching that and trying to be part of that?
Yeah, well, I just hurt as much as the boys for the moment. It's just about feeling the feels. I think it'd be pretty naive if you sort of wanted to go around and be super happy and smiling, all that sort of stuff. No one wants to lose games of footy, but as Clarky mentioned, that's inevitable. There's a winner and there's a loser, and unfortunately we've had 2 in a row now, which is obviously disappointing for us, but it's a matter of just me being able to control what I can control and be a good teammate for the boys around there, having good attitude coming there. We'll review the game in thorough detail, and then obviously look to get better going forward. So you said GWS had a good win today, and they'll be up and about, but I'd like to think that we travel really well as a team, and we've almost taken it as a bit of a badge of honour to be able to go away as a connected group and make sure we can get 4 points on the road.
Yeah, nice. And boys, obviously retro round, so you get to wear the retro kit, represent it throughout the week. Do you talk about the history of Freo? Do you sort of go through a deep dive on that, or is it just more sort of focus on what we do and then just get to wear the kits and fancy entrance and all that sort of stuff midweek, which was pretty cool to see from a fan's perspective?
Yeah, well, we do a lot of the history of Freo and that sort of stuff in the summer. We train once a week at South Freo, and we sort of dedicate the Arvo to diving in and getting connected with our history of the club and past players, and the history around Freo. So in season it's sort of all business as usual, and that sort of takes a back seat, but we are really well educated around it during the off season.
Yep. Last time we were here, we probably jinxed it. We're talking about wanting to see Wharfie time again tonight. We've got Wharfie time, which was probably not a good thing, because it means the game's pretty close. I'm not sure if you saw Coxie, but broke the record for most membership for the club today, which was fantastic for the group. How much is there? Obviously 50,000 people there tonight would have been pretty good playing in front of them.
Yeah, definitely. Having all the support, especially in that Wharfie time, could really, although we don't really want to go into it, but the support that we felt out there or every game, is second to none from any supporters, and we really do feel the love when you get around us. So thanks to the supporters, and hopefully we can go into the finals and win a flag for you.
Absolutely.
Yep. Boys, obviously a tough loss. I can, obviously sense you guys are hurting, but really appreciate you guys coming on. I know it's probably the last thing you want to do, but really appreciate you being candid and telling us what it's all about, because we don't see otherwise. We don't see the human element. Sometimes we just look at numbers, sometimes we look at stats or whatever it is, but to actually see the effort, the care, putting the bodies on the line, and it's come here and represent it. mad respect. So really appreciate that, guys.
No worries.
Thanks,
Thank you.
lads.
Cheers.
All right, so a bit backwards, if you will. So we started with a prep, and obviously would love to be on a better note, mate, but welcome again. It would be remiss of me to say that we obviously didn't win that game, but 10-13, 73, 9-8, 62 for those of you who weren't watching and who aren't shedding a Kleenex right now, going through and wiping away the tears. It's really a story of what could have been, because throughout the game we had moments. There were runs, but there were efforts. I mean, I pointed to all these things, that there's so many positive things to take out of the game. And just to quickly, before I throw to you, I had Sharpie's desperation on the goal line, which took 1,001 years to try and get a goal review on whether or not it was a goal or not. I had Youngie's elite tackle, run, goal as probably the crypto moment, and just absolutely tearing apart that second quarter was just an all-time second quarter from him. And then if I could throw to you on the third one, which I thought was just kind of the epitome, which was, I thought, Voss fends off, does his bench press twice, and then manages to hit up Jai for the goal with 1 minute 20 left in the third. And that's when I thought, I won't swear, but that's when I thought, goodness gracious me, we are on like Donkey Kong.
I couldn't agree more. And the funny thing is, probably a lot of the fans haven't seen Vossi do that work. And the nickname of Vossi is Peck in the gym, because he's got decent size and he's pretty good on the bench press. So he comes from a bit of a rugby background, and I wouldn't be surprised if the step comes out a few times. But yeah, it was one of those moments you thought that was almost going to be the turning point of the game, didn't you? Think we get that and we go back, and that changes the momentum. And coming from the team meeting, that's what we talked about. It was so much of an arm wrestle all day. We didn't know which way it was going to go a lot of the time, and we probably thought the battle was going to be won in the midfield, or that was going to be the key driver to it. And I feel like both teams had the momentum at different times of the game. I thought there was a real highlight tonight was a smothering of the team. Our ability just to be able to lay a finger in at different times or get those smothers, particularly when they were out. Clarky had one in the first quarter on Dangerfield when they looked like Danger went back from about 50, went to play on, and Clarky's obviously switched on and that stuff. So obviously not the result we wanted, but there's definitely a lot of positives we can take out of it all, and definitely some learnings at the same time. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think all the way to the end is the key takeaway from me as well. I thought the blokes just pushed everything that they had right into the end. Epitomised by, I think it was deep into the fourth, Cameron got the ball on the wing and Dangerfield streaming away, and bloody poor old Coxie has to chase that guy, but he's tonguing it but chasing it, doesn't give up, but puts enough referred pressure on that Dangerfield feels he can't pick up the ball to kick it, and then soccers it through for a point. I thought, oh my God, that was like,
Again, that's another one of those pivotal moments. It was one of those things. I felt sorry for the poor goal umpire, because she was in the position where she didn't know if it was a goal or point. It's probably lucky we had the old review system. Because there was a few times it was funny when Brian Myers kicked his goal tonight from the pocket. There was no celebration, obviously, from anyone. No one realised it was going through. So credit to the fans having such a good turnout tonight. And I mean, a lot of them stuck around towards the end, which is fantastic. We know we've got such loyal fans, which makes it a lot easier. And Coxie's probably been a bit mean to himself there, saying he was gassed towards the end of the game. I've done a lot of cross-training with him, and I tell you what, he's a very fit athlete, and he's working very hard. So, he's definitely done a lot of work to get out there and put in the hard yards, so he can make those chase down tackles or put in that referred pressure to be able to turn the ball over for us. Yeah,
nice. And look, obviously a man who loves to be in the cage as well. Big changes in the forward line. I know the boys obviously being defenders, they refer to what it's like for them as defenders, but surely in that forward line, it is the next man in mentality, but there has to be some element of, if it changes late, how does that impact their structure? And I know they're trying to adjust to it, but it must be pretty difficult. Can you talk us through that? Like, how would that be for a forward?
Well, obviously it is a bit of a change to it all. I mean, the last minute sort of stuff can always chuck a bit of a strange thing in there, but it gives someone else an opportunity. And we know that Tabs has proven himself weak. He's proven himself at the AFL level. We know that he can play some good football. At that side, I feel like sometimes a bit of the delivery to him tonight probably didn't help him. He's a very good one-on-one player, and I feel like sometimes we'll probably be asking him to beat 2 or 3 on 1 sometimes with it all. Geelong a very good, strong intercepting marking team. So, but it's very true that next man in mentality. Look at Tommy Emmett. He got in. He was able to kick three. We had Tommy on last time already. He kicked 3 goals and unfortunately got suspended. So missed this week. But there's definitely lots of boys that are putting their hand up at the Peel level. Sam Sturt started the year in Peel. He's come in. He's had a really strong period of form in the last couple of months, which is great. So that next man in mentality, Josh Draper's another one going really strongly with obviously Alex Pearce out at the moment. So we do honestly believe that, but obviously a bit of a human element to it. You know that last minute there's going to be a big change, like Sean goes down, and that it's always going to create a little bit of uncertainty to an extent. But we honestly believe that we have the people to be able to come in and execute no matter the time.
Yeah, and missed the Big Dick Cyclone, mentioned that before, leading up and tearing the game apart as well. I thought that probably had a little bit of an impact on Jai's game as well.
Yeah.
And Tab's tried to play his role too, but the difficulty, like you said, if we're not hitting him up in the way he likes it, and it made it a bit difficult for him to have a bit of an influence in the game as well. So just a few tweaks there. Obviously the big onions out means that Jackson has to go pretty much full-time into the ruck, which again changes the structure up. And when Jackson was able to go forward, he took a nice mark, kicked a goal, and what could have been. But that's footy, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got to adjust to the situation, you've got to adjust to the circumstances. And again, I go back to it, and credit must be given to Geelong by the way they played. By the way, their forward 50 pressure was unbelievable.
Yep.
So you can't keep talking about how we played without actually giving them credit. So that was awesome. But, in that sense, there's so many positive things to take out from the game. I know it's a loss, and, people are immediately going to go to that doom and gloom scenario, and I understand it.
Yeah.
But we got 2 games left, and the crystal ball is in our hands.
And I think that's the best part, as you said, is that we're in control of our own destiny. It's not like we're relying on other results. At the end of the day, we control what we can. We get back to work at training starting Monday, and we get our next couple of games, and we win them. We lock ourselves in a good chance to be able to play finals footy. Obviously, that's the end goal, but we're very process orientated. We don't look too far ahead for it all, so we'll look forward towards this week. And as we touched on, Giants had a great win. They were able to knock off Brisbane in Brisbane, which is no easy task. So we're looking forward to be able to go there and have a crack at them. And if I look at our draw towards the end of the season, this is what you want to be doing going into finals, hopefully finals, because you want to be playing teams that are around you with it all. So you want to be able to build yourself up so you're ready to rock and roll, rather than playing some teams that may be a little bit easier compared to others, and then you sort of go in there with this false pretense that you're going a bit better than what you think sometimes.
Look, 100%, mate. And to be the best, you've got to beat the best.
Couldn't agree more.
And one of the things which is quite interesting is you've got GWS going up to the energy sapping Brisbane, that humidity, that heat, and they played a bloody hard game of footy, and they're coming back to the showgrounds. They're probably selling show bags in front of 50 people out there, and we're just not going to be worried about the old show bags. We're going to be kicking goals, mate, kicking snaggers. So look, as much as I am the realist, I'm also an optimist, and I just feel there's something about this group that doesn't want to let the season go.
Well, I think you have to be an optimist. I mean, you look at the performances we've been able to do. Looking back at it all, we've got the trust in the group. We've got the trust in the coaches and that stuff to be able to go out there. As you said, there's going to be a few people that are going to be pretty negative. I think some people can be pretty quick to jump on the board of the negativity. 2 in a row we've lost. There's question marks, all that sort of stuff. But we get back to our process. We control what we can control. It sounds super cliche, but that's all we can do, and that's led obviously by Jail at the top, and we sort of flow through everybody. So again, we'll review the game really hard. There were some mistakes that we made tonight, but it's always hard to come here and talk and that stuff. I'm quite an optimistic person as well, so it's hard to try and look at the negatives sometimes with it all, because we want to focus on that thing, because that's our strength. We want to focus on our strengths rather than our weaknesses. And
look, thank you for being here, first and foremost, because not only do you bring the professionalism and the understanding and the knowledge, but also the positivity, which is great, because I'm bleeding here on the inside, mate. There's purple blood coming out of me. But one of the stats that I'll finish with, one of the stats that I'd like to turn around here. And one of the stats that was presented, essentially, 5 times that Freo's been leading at 3/4 time, and we haven't been able to close it out. I challenge the fact that we've actually been up at 3/4 time 5 times with this very young group. So I would rather be in that position and talk about the fact that we have been up at 3/4 time, and yes, we've lost those 5 games in which we've been up. But guess what? We've actually been there. So this young group is evolving. This young group is learning and taking, key learnings out, key growth out of it. And I think it can only inspire us going forward to excel.
I agree. And the exposure that provides for people that in big games, when you do have the lead at the last quarter, how do you close games out? And I can sometimes play a bit devil's advocate with statistics and that stuff. I feel like you can always find a statistic to try and suit your opinion and those sort of things. And Obviously, Collingwood are an amazing come-behind team, and unfortunately, they're going to miss out on finals. So it's one of those things you can look at both sides of the coin for it all. And we do just as much, or we do a lot of situation training where it comes down when you're down by a small margin, up by a small margin, so we can play the percentages. And there was things done tonight to help us win the game that people maybe not have seen because they weren't live. But there's definitely things that we tried to it all. And as you touched on, you got to give credit to Geelong. They were able to counteract that and obviously get the chocolates tonight.
Yeah, and look, again, a lot of positive things to take out. Obviously, some things to work on, some areas of growth, but you can just see what they're trying to do. You can see that it's close, and I know J-Lo's working his backside off to try and make it happen, and you boys are doing that too. So, on behalf of us fans, get around the lads. Give them a big hug for us because I know this week it's a new week. Let's just dust off. Get down GWS and let's just make it happen and then just take the game on, be our best version of ourselves, and anything is possible.
Thanks, Oz. I couldn't agree more. At the end of the day, the boys will, they'll lick their wounds and get back to work because, it's a week comes around pretty quickly. The next game will come around quickly. But, we're all hurting inside and we'll make sure that we can get back on the horse and get to it. But, thanks for having me on again.
No worries. Thanks, guys.